Because here's the truth. These people were never really looking out for you. They were only looking out for themselves. A Stoic understands this timeless principle. Advice should not be judged merely by the words spoken, but by the motive behind those words. Motives reveal everything. And once you realize that their motives are selfish, the final sign becomes impossible to ignore. 5. They disappear when you need them most. This is the breaking point, the moment when the disguise falls away. Envy and deceit, no matter how carefully hidden, always end in the same place, betrayal. You can see it in the pattern. When you stumble, when you fail, they say nothing. They watch in silence, sometimes with a subtle satisfaction that they can't quite hide. When you succeed, they shrink away, uncomfortable in the brightness of your success. But when the storm truly comes, when you face a crisis, when your world feels like it's collapsing, when you are desperate for support, that's when their absence speaks the loudest. Think about it. True friends don't vanish in hard times. They don't disappear when the rain starts falling. A true friend grabs an umbrella and stands beside you even if they get wet too. A true friend doesn't just share the sunshine, they walk with you in the storm. But false friends? They hide. They don't call, they don't show up, they don't check in. Instead, they stay in the shadows, almost curious to see if you will sink. They may even tell themselves, "I don't want to get involved." But deep down, their envy and deceit leave them secretly relieved that it isn't them suffering. Epictetus taught us this profound truth. Only the tested friend is the real friend. Friendship is not proven by laughter in good times. It is proven by presence in hardship. Loyalty is not in the words someone says when life is easy. It is in the actions they take when life is hard. At the end of the day, learning to recognize envy and deceit in others is not about becoming paranoid. It is not about distrusting everyone, building walls so high that no one can come close. That would only trap you in isolation. No, the Stoic approach is about becoming wise. A Stoic understands that envy, deceit, betrayal, these are not always direct, personal attacks against you. Many times they are symptoms of something broken within the other person. Envy is born from insecurity. Gossip grows from comparison. Betrayal springs from fear. These are chains that bind them, not you. So what do? You don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to waste your precious time trying to chase down every whisper, expose every lie, or challenge every jealous glance. That is a never-ending war, and it will drain the peace from your soul. Instead, guard your peace. Protect your integrity. Let your life itself, the way you carry yourself, the consistency of your actions, the clarity of your values, speak louder than all their whispers combined. Silence can be your greatest answer. Consistency can be your strongest defense. And remember this, your mission in life is not to convince others of your worth. You don't need to prove yourself to people who secretly root for your downfall. You don't need to waste your light on those who prefer the shadows. Your mission is to live fully, authentically, courageously, regardless of who is watching or doubting. True strength does not come from their approval. It comes from within. And once it is rooted in self-awareness, that strength becomes unshakable. No rumor, no gossip, no betrayal has the power to take it away. So if this message speaks to you, don't let it stop here. Subscribe for more Stoic wisdom, lessons that can guide and strengthen you on your journey. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who may be wrestling with the sting of false friends or the poison of envy, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Your story might be the encouragement that someone else, somewhere in the world, desperately needs right now. Together, we can rise above envy. We can see through deceit, and we can choose virtue again and again, no matter what the world throws at us. Your path is yours alone. Walk it with clarity, walk it with courage, and never forget, no mask, no false friend, no whispered lie has the power to define who you are. Only you, anchored in wisdom, grounded in self-awareness, hold that power. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. Sometimes the warmest smiles hide the coldest intentions. And if you miss the signs, those you trust most may be the very ones waiting for you to fall. Have you ever received a compliment that felt strangely hollow? The words sounded kind, but something in their eyes betrayed the truth. That's not your imagination. That's envy, hiding in plain sight. Betrayal doesn't always enter your life with anger. It tiptoes in quietly, behind handshakes, friendly laughter, and words that seem supportive, yet carry the slow poison of deceit. The truth is this: the people who openly dislike you are rarely the ones who can cause the most harm. Their hatred is clear, their intentions obvious, and because of that, you can keep your guard up. You know where you stand with them. But the real danger? It comes from those who sit close to you. Those who greet you with warmth, smile at your victories, and call themselves your friends. Yet behind the surface, envy twists their thoughts, and deceit sharpens their motives. They don't celebrate your progress, they resent it. They don't want you to fail openly, they hope for it quietly. Envy hides itself well. It cloaks itself in compliments that feel too polished, too rehearsed. Deceit doesn't walk in dressed as an enemy. It disguises itself as loyalty, as care, as friendship. And if you can't spot the signs, if you don't learn to see beyond the mask, you could easily become their next unsuspecting victim. That's why in this video, we'll reveal the subtle ways envy and manipulation operate, and how Stoic wisdom can help you detect them before it's too late. 1. The smile that isn't real. Envy rarely shows its true face. Think about it. When was the last time someone admitted, "I envy you"? Almost never. Instead, envy slips behind gestures we're conditioned to trust. The handshake that feels strong, the smile that looks warm, the compliment that sounds flattering. But if you pause and pay attention, you'll feel something missing. Their eyes don't reflect the warmth of their smile. Their words echo politely but hollow. Their compliments, instead of uplifting you, leave behind a faint uneasiness, like there was something sharp hidden beneath the surface. Have you ever received praise that, for some reason, didn't sit right? That's not paranoia. That's your intuition catching the tone of envy. A Stoic understands this. Genuine respect doesn't need to be forced. It is felt. You don't analyze it, you sense it. So when your instincts whisper, "This smile is only for show," trust that instinct. That subtle feeling of unease may be your first warning sign. And once you notice it, once you see the first crack in their mask, everything else starts to fall into place. You begin to see the pattern. Their laughter doesn't sound sincere. Their encouragement always feels half-hearted. Their presence drains more than it uplifts. Suddenly, what once looked like loyalty now begins to look suspiciously like rivalry. 2. When good news makes them uncomfortable. The second sign is hidden in how people react to your victories. Success has a way of revealing hearts. A true friend celebrates you genuinely. They cheer louder than you do. They remind you how far you've come, and they take pride in your success as though it were their own. Their joy doesn't just match yours, it amplifies it. But an envious person? Their mask slips the moment you share good news. They nod politely. They say, "I'm happy for you," but their tone is flat. Their smile looks painted on. Their body shifts uncomfortably, and if you watch closely, their eyes avoid yours. Sometimes they quickly change the subject, because your success is a mirror reflecting back to them all the things they haven't achieved. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that envy is a sickness of the soul, and you can see it clearly in these moments. A person chained by comparison cannot truly rejoice in the victories of others. Instead of lifting their spirit, your success unsettles them. And when that sickness of envy festers, it rarely stays silent. It eventually shows itself in something far more toxic: the words they speak about you when you're not around. 3. The subtle poison of gossip. Deceit rarely comes in the form of open attack. It doesn't yell, it doesn't strike directly. Instead, it whispers. The deceitful person doesn't confront you, they speak behind you. They lower their voice, leaning closer, and pretend to confide in others. They say things like, "I probably shouldn't tell you this, but..." or, "I'm just concerned about them." On the surface, it sounds like care. But beneath it, the goal is clear: to slowly chip away at your reputation, to plant seeds of doubt in the minds of those around you. Each whisper is a drop of poison. Individually, they may seem harmless, but over time, they stain the way others see you. Seneca once warned, "Associate with those who make you better," and he was right. True friends strengthen you. They defend you when you're not in the room. But gossipers? They erode your foundation, piece by piece, while smiling in your presence. They may sit at your table, they may laugh at your jokes, but they are not your allies. They are saboteurs, and the longer they remain in your circle, the more dangerous they become. for manipulation, disguised as advice. Finally, beware of this. Not all harmful guidance comes from ignorance. Some of it comes from envy, carefully disguised as care. An envious person may encourage you to take risks you don't need to take. They may nudge you to spend money recklessly or to make choices that benefit them while quietly harming you. The most dangerous part, they wrap their motives in the language of kindness. They'll say, "I'm just looking out for you," or "Trust me, this is the best thing for you." But if you peel back the layers, you'll see their words were never about your growth. They were about their gain. And here lies the Stoic truth. Advice should not be judged merely by the words, but by the motive behind those words. If the motive is selfish, if the intent is poisoned by envy, the mask will eventually slip. And once it does, you'll realize their guidance was not protection, it was manipulation. So, remember this. The most dangerous enemy is not the one who shouts at you from across the battlefield. It's the one who sits beside you, smiling, while secretly sharpening a knife behind their back. That's why Stoic wisdom matters. It doesn't just open your eyes, it protects your peace. Because once you learn to see through false smiles, hollow compliments, whispered gossip, and manipulative advice, you'll no longer be an easy target for betrayal. And in the next part of this video, we'll uncover the final sign, the moment when the mask completely falls away and their betrayal becomes undeniable. We've seen how fake smiles, half-hearted congratulations, malicious whispers, and calculated advice can mask jealousy. But then, when the mask can no longer hold, there's one final sign that comes out, an undeniable sign that clearly reveals their true nature.